Menstrual cycle, very simply explained. The entire menstrual cycle consists of 28 days in human beings. Now, menstruation is a characteristic feature of primates, which are a part of kingdom Animalia and phylum Mammalia. So remember, menstrual cycle is a characteristic feature of primates, monkeys, apes, human beings, etc. Now, the important part is the menstrual cycle, which is of 28 days in human females, consists of 4 stages. The first stage, which is the actual stage of menstruation, lasts about 1 to 5 days. That is the phase during which menstrual blood flows out of the woman's body, which consists of broken down of the uterine wall, and also the unfertilized ovum is released along with it blood vessels, etc. Whatever was formed, the thickening of the uterine wall, which was thickening in preparation for receiving the fertilized egg, which did not happen. Hence, menstruation occurs. The next stage in menstrual cycle is referred to as the follicular phase. The follicular phase lasts after the 6th day up to the 14th day. That is when one Graafian follicle, one primary follicle starts maturing into a secondary follicle. Secondary follicle matures and forms a Graafian follicle. That is when the oocyte inside matures and forms a secondary oocyte. On the 14th day of the cycle is the ovulatory phase. That is when the ovulation happens. The Graafian follicle bursts and releases the ovum. Now the ovum is released and it waits for a sperm to come and fertilize it, and that is when the body starts preparing for pregnancy. So what happens is that the Graafian follicle, after releasing the ovum, gets converted into a corpus luteum, and the corpus luteum starts preparing the uterus for the childbirth, for the receiving the fertilized egg, which is why this entire process took place. It gets converted into a corpus luteum. Corpus luteum starts secreting hormones to maintain the uterus. The uterine wall starts getting thickened. So the hormonal presence at each of these stages is very different. Ovulation happens because of the peak of LH, which is luteinizing hormone. When ovulation happens, after that the corpus luteum starts secreting progesterone, and the amount of progesterone, estrogen starts increasing. When fertilization doesn't happen, then about the last stage, which is the secretory phase. That is when the corpus luteum, there is drop in the level of estrogen and progesterone, which leads to the uterine wall now start getting disrupted and starts getting breaking down, and then the final stage, which is the menstrual phase, happens, which lasts about 1 to 5 days. That happens because the progesterone estrogen level suddenly drop down. So you need to remember the different hormones at different stages. There are 4 stages: menstrual stage, proliferative stage, ovulation, which actually happens, and the secretory phase, which follows ovulation, and then comes the menstrual stage. Remember the hormones that peak at each of these, very important from NEET point of view and MCQ point of view.